Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Sup?
We're looking at Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is real. VFX artists explain why from Corridor Crew, the YouTube channel. Thank you, Corridor Crew, for allowing us to react to this. You guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to Corridor Crew. There's a link in the description below for the original video, which we're about to look at. If you want to hit that and give the original video an upvote and subscribe to their channel. Also, please subscribe here, hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this video up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. All right, here we go.
So what you see here is a clip that was apparently leaked.
What?
We're gonna break down the video pixel by pixel to determine its authenticity. Is it possible that the shot was faked? Or is it real?
Nothing gets fans more excited than crossovers. The Avengers. Wandaverse, when the guy who played Quicksilver, but he was from the other franchise. What? Dude, the Spider-Verse movies, what? Turns out they're doing it in live action now.
Multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. So what you see here is a clip that was apparently leaked, obviously showing Andrew Garfield on set as his character from the Amazing Spider-Man series.
It's weird when a video clip like this comes out. It's very clearly Andrew Garfield, yet he turns around and says, no, it is not I.
I heard about it, and I did see it, and it's a Photoshop.
Who do you believe? Here's what people are saying online about this. It's been revealed that Andrew Garfield's appearance in the latest Spider-Man movie was in fact a deepfake. The Hollywood star who played the web-slinging superhero in the last movie will not be reprising his role after producers discovered he had been replaced by an AI trained to impersonate the actor. We were having a difficult time with Andrew Garfield. We couldn't get him to come to set, and sometimes filming would be delayed because of his commitments to some movie about a quadriplegic single mother. Anyways, the article goes on, but it proves the point that this video of Andrew Garfield is fake.
That article is fake. Sam literally generated it with an AI.
Much like the actual articles written about this subject that seem to be written by AI.
So Sam and I are gonna cut through that conflicting information today. We're gonna break down the video pixel by pixel to determine its authenticity. Is it possible that the shot was faked? Or is it real?
So come with us through the critical thinking process, so next time something like this happens, you can figure it out for yourself.
Okay.
So what's interesting is that it looks like this is an actual cinema camera, or a rather high quality camera. It's a large sensor, because you can see some depth of field here. This isn't like some person on their phone.
Right.
Either it's like some ripped footage from a behind the scenes crew, or someone who has like tapped into one of the actual monitors on set.
This could just be footage from when he was filming Spider-Man, and he's just talking to his stunt double, like, you want me to stand like you were standing like this? All right, so if we compare that footage with the original footage from The Amazing Spider-Man, there's a pretty big difference between the two. His hairdo is different, he looks a lot younger, he looks like he's in high school. But the main thing is his hairdo. Like, they wouldn't just have a different hairdo for one day on set here. So this most likely is new footage. His face looks like it's a different resolution from his costume. It's slightly blurrier.
There does seem to be a slight lack of detail there. It's a bit of an anomaly, in my opinion, because if we're looking at like the bars there, we can see like surface imperfections on the beams, and it does seem like there's a slight lack of quality on the face. That being said, like generally if you upload a video to a social media platform, the chances that it's going to be an MP4 file,
it's gonna get degraded.
It's pretty likely. And the way MP4 files work is by compressing motion into an overall image. So it's less about rendering a unique frame, every single frame, but taking one frame and then basically saying, all right, this is the direction the pixels are moving, so that way we have motion data instead of image data. It's called iframes and p-frames. So an example like
this. Oh my gosh, this is getting very complicated. I think I'm understanding it, but it's like very deep.
Well, the whole thing with MP4 or just like videos that are uploaded to YouTube, like when you record like on this camera, for instance, which is a Canon R, or on your phone, everything is relative with information for H.264, or now they're going to H.265, but it's still about relative information. So, for instance, that background back there, before we put light in the kitchen and now a candle, it was just black. And so because that was consistently black, it was just estimating, okay, that is staying relatively the same. So we're gonna borrow that information and use it again and again and again for the next frame, so that we don't have to keep processing that info over and over again. And that's why you get these sort of hovering pixels sometimes that where it looks like artifacts.
Okay.
And so if you have the candle back there with a little bit of motion, it's very subtle, it helps prevent that from happening. also it looks better. So that's why I think that's what they're talking about, where there's a slight soft texture to his face because he's not moving a lot, and so it's all just relative information where it's kind of borrowing from the last frame.
Gotcha.
That's why it looks a little softer.
Okay,
so I'm in the middle of editing this right now, and I realize that what I said is the opposite of what Corridor Crew is saying, which is confusing me, but here is a little bit of information if you want to freeze frame on it to read what I was talking about in more scientific detail.
Everything that's not moving is going to stay crisp, while the things moving will have less fidelity.
The main claim I've seen made about this video is that we are in fact looking at a deepfake of Andrew Garfield. I don't think this is a deepfake. This will be the best deepfake I've ever seen if it's a deepfake, 100%. I mean, the best deepfakes I've ever seen is the Tom Cruise deepfakes.
What's up, TikTok?
Deep Tom Cruise by Chris
good.
Koay.
Yeah.
I mean, those are wonderful, but you can tell they're deepfakes if you scrutinize it. You can see there's no crisp shadow under the nose from the sunlight. There's a bit of a sense of like his face is being lit and then like relit again.
Uncanny Valley, yeah.
Fresh as a button.
That looks good.
But even like the teeth, like the lighting on the teeth is not quite right. Also,
I honestly don't know what he's talking about. That looks good to me. Like, if you told me this is Tom Cruise, I'm gonna think it's Tom. I would believe you.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
It feels a little bit like it's a flat texture of a face, you know, as opposed to like a three-dimensional object.
That's what I felt when I saw the Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian season 2. It felt flat.
Yeah, it just, there's something, it's like you always say, it's that uncanny valley effect where it's like I can't quite put my finger on it, but something in my brain is telling me this doesn't seem real even though it looks real.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this to me looks real. Like,
well, like when it's a picture, it looks really good.
Sure.
But then when it starts moving around, you start noticing a few things. I feel like your brain kind of picks it up even if like you're not really registering it.
So that's because the computer's trained on a bunch of images of a face. Well, those images are filmed at all different focal lengths. You know, oftentimes if you're doing, say, you know, training from movies, like let's say we're doing a Tom Cruise deepfake and you're grabbing all these Tom Cruise shots. So a lot of times you're using close-ups. Close-ups are often shot with a telephoto lens. And what a telephoto lens does is it tends to flatten everything.
Compresses.
My face has a lot of distortion, right? My nose is scaled up a little bit because it's closer to you. My ears, my face is probably kind of like a little fish-eyed, and these get a little bit smaller. I get perspective on my face.
Right.
Now you kind of see how everything's flattened on my face.
Oh.
You've probably seen like GIFs of this on Reddit or something like that. Like, look at what lenses do to the face. What ends up happening is that when you put a deepfake on a face, you kind of get this weird like flat nose effect, or like the whole face is almost like this like squished lack of perspective, almost like orthographic view, when in real life you should actually be getting a lot more perspective and depth and almost like vanishing points representing themselves on the face as the geometry moves around. It's really, really, really good, but just scrutinize it. It's not quite right. That in mind, let's go back to Andrew Garfield.
It just seems a little bit too smooth.
But honestly, it still looks really good. I'm so impressed by that deepfake.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic.
That is really good.
But what he's talking about is definitely real, because I've been testing out vlogging cameras and whatnot and seeing how it looks like relative to where I am in the frame. And that sort of distortion that happens when you're closer to a wide angle lens is very frustrating because it makes you look weird. It gives you that long nose effect and whatnot. And so I'm always trying to figure out ways around that.
First thing I'm seeing is there's an edge light coming from the top right corner, kind of a bluish, daylight blue edge light. It's hitting the lines on his costume. It's also hitting the side of his neck, at the corner of his jaw, and his hair here. The little bit of the corner of the jaw catching the light is interesting because that specific kind of sharp lighting detail, that's something a deepfake does not do very well. Most deepfakes cover this part of the face. You can do whole head deepfakes, but they get blurry and low resolution. So that would mean that the hair has to be real. You almost never deepfake hair. It's very, very hard to do, especially such bountiful hair like that from Andrew Garfield. Another thing to look at is the eyes. So your eyes are reflective, they're spheres. The reflections in both eyes should be consistent with each other. If one eye shows one light reflection, the other eye shows two light reflections, well then that's a sign that the eyes are being faked. And the deepfake will pick up on one of the bright spots. Looking at his eyes, I see consistent reflections in both.
That's
Another
right.
thing I'm seeing, the sharpness of the shadows going off of his nose onto the side of his face, and more importantly, into his mouth. You can see the glistening light on the water of his tongue, and it's consistent. The deepfake might
Do you think Andrew Garfield ever imagined in a million years his face would be like picked apart to this much detail?
No.
Like with this much scrutiny just to figure out if something's real or not? This is hilarious.
It's crazy.
Catch that here and there, but it has no idea of what's causing highlights or light. It just knows statistically where these things go. You'd have to have so much very specific trained data of Andrew Garfield's tongue with light glistening on it at the correct color temperature and angle to be able to replicate it here. I mean, if the Andrew Garfield shot is a deep fake, maybe somebody's just thought it'd be a funny joke to fake this. I mean, there are good deepfake artists out there that could theoretically do something like this.
Yeah, well, as real as this looks, it has been revealed that this shot is a deepfake.
Really?
No.
Oh, yeah, right.
No.
I can already tell this is fake. The puppet tool.
The puppet tool?
Like, that's the clearest sign that this is fake already. It's like, you would never. Why would you move his arm up to the pole?
I did a reaction of this puppet.
Oh,
Tell me
okay.
this is fake.
No, but look, they deepfaked it. See how the the lips and the nose and the eyes are being tracked?
All right. Alex Serrato is trolling all of us. He didn't come out and said as much on his YouTube channel. All right, so the big giveaway here for me is this deepfake training grid. So when you have this grid view, one set of faces is the face that's going to be put on the other person. The other set of faces is the person who will be receiving the face. In other words, this shouldn't all be Andrew Garfield. One row should be Andrew Garfield, and the other row should be the actor underneath.
That's
what I said.
That's the funny thing. He's training his deepfake on the final image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where's the other actor? Because you don't just like, it doesn't generate a face from nothing.
I think it's really funny. I love that Alex did this, but I think that the number of news articles that went out saying it turns out it was a deepfake after all, and they just point to this. It's like, all they had to do was show the training shot to one person who's ever done a deepfake in their life, and they would immediately know it's not real. There is
Right.
one thing about this that caught me. I'm like, well, that's weird. When he enhances the face, and it's the way his teeth jump around when it's enhanced here. So what's happening here is he's using an AI up-resing algorithm here that's looking at the face and is analyzing detail and filling in extra detail. And so the reason the wrinkles are moving on the lips or the way the teeth heights are shifting is it's identifying patterns and it's guessing, maybe this is the top of the tooth. And then a few frames later it goes, no, this is the top of the tooth. And so the tooth constantly jumps around. All the details are not temporally consistent, as we would say. Now in a real deepfake, this is something you would actually run into. You would run into the teeth shimmying around a little bit. You would run into the wrinkles on the lips shimmying around a little bit. All right, so this video is fake, but are there any other ways one could fake this video without using a deep fake? This could be Andrew Garfield cut out from a film and they set up this shot to like look like it. That's how I would fake it. Like I would find a shot of Andrew Garfield where I can match the lighting and like the motions and I would just cut it out and stick it onto my footage. And you can get pretty close. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, could this be faked? Yes, this could be faked. It would be very, 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 very good fakery. I don't think it's a deep fake. Deepfakes are not magic. They're really not that crazy. They require a ton of artistry to actually blend and look real.
Also, it's probably not even a leak. Like at this point, if I was a movie studio, what's gonna get more press? Like an actual official photo that's released or a leak?
That's right.
Will you tell me
That's
I'm not
right.
Yeah,
closest to this?
true.
You know, it's like I'm totally clicking on that.
Yeah, I mean, they just got us to talk about this for a whole video here.
Yeah, look at that, right?
That's right. No, that's free press. I mean, that's the thing that we've been talking about. Is
Yeah.
it's like, because this footage looks so good. That's one of the things I was saying. It's like, okay, so you have like these feeds going out for Video Village, so producers and whatnot
Yeah.
can see it. But this looks like it's straight out of the camera. Like they reference the depth of field and all that stuff. It doesn't even look like someone took their phone and was like recording a monitor. It looks like it's straight out of the camera. How does that get out? Like
Yeah.
the only way that I can see that getting out without Sony deliberately doing that is someone was showboating. Like I'm working on this Spider-Man movie and I know something that most people don't. Oh, get out. And then it's street cred.
Yeah.
It's bragging rights. And
Yeah.
then, but like that's gonna get flown around in seconds all over the internet. Like the beginning of Crazy Rich Asians. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, when all the aunties were, yeah.
The internet's just full of aunties.
The internet is the auntie web.
Yeah, exactly. The auntie web. The internet's the auntie web.
Hashtag ad. Question mark?
Ad? Is this an ad? Did we just? Oh crap!
It's the best ad ever.
So this video
Yeah.
was brought to you by Disney and Spider-Man No Way Home, and we even have a
That's wrong.
special
It's not Disney, it's
additional
Sony.
clip for you guys to check out of the film. Here it is.
Everyone got superpowers. Well, everyone but me.
Spider-Man, great character, great superhero. I love the original movies with Tobey Maguire. All the Spider-Man movies, they're super fun. And would it be exciting to see one where all the cast members from different films come together for a single hit? Yeah, it'd be super cool.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. So we really enjoy doing these debunk videos. I have to give a massive shout out to Captain Disillusion. Not that we're trying to copy his format, but if there's anybody out there who does the best debunk videos on the internet, it's him. So if you like this video, go check him out. But I'd love some more
that's
clips.
nice.
You know, like real footage, ghost footage, the Bigfoot footage. Point us to some very specific shots that you want to see us take a look at to see if we can spot any residual artifacts of visual effects artistry, or we can try to figure out if they are exactly 100% real. We'll find your mysteries and we'll solve them.
So what's funny about this is, in my reaction to that deepfake like video, it's like the guy saying I deepfaked it. I was actually referring to VFX artists react because most of what I have come to understand about deepfakes is from them. So it's like, it's interesting to come full circle and actually have them break down this video.
Right.
I'm sure they waited a while because at one point Sony was doing takedowns of like anyone who had this footage.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't wise to attack it right away. It wasn't wise to even show an image from the
Exactly.
leaked footage. But now it's like, it's so ubiquitous.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's like you might as well. I liked all the little nuances that they brought to helping us to understand why it's real.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy watching their videos because it is really
Informative.
and they break it down in a very simple way for us to understand.
Well, for the most part.
For the most part, even though
Yeah.
I had to ask you for a second and be like, wait, hold on, can you explain this to me again? But they do a really good job of that, and they make it interesting and fun and informative.
Right.
So yeah, good job.
Well, regarding the thing I was talking to you about, like Marquez Brownlee, MKBHD, did a breakdown of YouTube's approximation for H.264 of like its compression is the easier way to refer to it, which is like he took the same video and uploaded it like 10,000 times. Something absurd.
Yeah.
Just to show you what happens with the compression as it tries to approximate the information over and over again, frame to frame. It fell apart. Like by the 10,000th upload, his face was not even discernible anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it just keeps approximating and compressing and compressing and compressing. YouTube's compression system is very strong.
It's very good. Yeah.
It's very good, but nothing comes without sacrifice. I appreciate their effort to educate people on basically arming people to know when they're looking at a fake image. But I think I gained maybe like 1% knowledge in watching this. I'm like, okay, I kind of know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? Because they obviously are playing with this stuff all the time and looking at the shadows and whatnot. And so they can really detect whether, they have a good sense as to whether something's fake or not. But watching one YouTube video is not going to help me to know enough.
Well, it was
about,
actually,
you know.
I think the thing that kind of blew my mind the most was like to look at the eyes and just make sure
That was a big one, yeah. That was a big one.
The light sources are the same in both eyes. I thought that was really cool.
That was a gem because
Yeah.
I never thought to look at that. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. Because
Yeah.
eyes are very reflective. We encounter this all the time when we're shooting videos or taking photos, especially videos, because you don't want to give anything away.
Well, yeah, I remember like back in the day when I was modeling, sometimes the light would be so strong and then they do a close up of my face and I could literally see the photographer reflected back
Yeah.
in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I can understand for a picture, you understand that there's a person taking the picture, but I think if you can see the camera or the light source or whatever and it looks like a light as opposed to like sunlight or whatever, it kind of takes away the illusion of, oh, this is a story that we're watching, like we're buying into this, and it just kind of reminds you like, oh no, actually it's a film.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's why you get these giant soft boxes to disperse the light more.
Yeah.
Make it soft. Anyway, that was fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let us know your thoughts and feelings and opinions in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon, all notifications, and vote this video up, please, to let YouTube know that you enjoyed what you watched. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.